Card Dog action, baby, back live. We got some rumors, because they have such a big implication on how players are given opportunity share in their respective teams and their offenses. And that has a big effect on how card prices will shake out. The opportunity share is going to drive those performances, and that's going to drive player rookie card values. Steve, what's good, man?
What's up, man? I have had an adventure of a week with my internet problems, but I wanted to just share a funny story about that. So, when you call somewhere and you tell them you got a problem, they're going to usually tell you it's on your end, right? Every time you call, they're going to tell you it's on your end. So I finally got them out here. Turns out that squirrels had chewed through the line, which was all the way up on the electrical post. And the reason my internet was going out right before the stream every week was because when they chewed through the line, as the sun went down and it got colder, the line would refreeze and I would lose all internet. Yeah. So talk about some awful luck, but the positive side is it's fixed and it didn't cost me a dime because it was their fault. So if you ever have any internet problems, non-hobby tip of the day, don't let them blame you for it. Tell them to get their butt out there and do their jobs.
Well, speaking of bad luck, should we call it bad luck that Patrick Mahomes absolutely melted down in the second half of last weekend's championship game, and you actually predicted the Bengals winning by 3 points? Was that bad luck for Patrick Mahomes, or was that a total Patrick Mahomes self-destruction?
That is prophecy, is what that is. That was just meant. It's what was already written, and it just had to happen that way. So anything Mahomes could have done was out of his reach at that point. The football gods decided that it wasn't his time. His moment has come, and it's not forever gone. It was just gone this weekend. So it's time for Mr. Burrow with his thugged out Nike chain and his slick glasses and looking super fresh. I don't know about you, man, but I've been saying it since we started doing this. I am damn excited about Mr. Burrow and the prospects of his future.
The new era, man. New era, super fresh. Yeah, he may look a little bit like Macaulay Culkin. I'm probably not saying his name right. The kid from Home Alone.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that baby face in the helmet, but yeah, he's just super fly, man. Go Burrow, let's go. What's up, Don Chownard in the chat, Joel in the chat. We all predicted the Bengals would be here. What's oddly interestingly enough, my wife was telling me earlier this week that the Chinese New Year just started. I don't know if you guys realize that the Chinese New Year was like February 1st. And this year, guess what, Steve? It's the year of the tiger in China. Isn't that wild?
It's funny you mentioned that because I had a discussion with my my chiropractor the other day after 6 consecutive games in the playoffs ended regulation with a field goal. 4 of them being game deciding, right? 2 of them pushing the game into overtime. Now, either that is just an incredible anomaly of 1,000,000 to 1 plus odds, or speculatively there was a script per se of predetermination. Now, I don't like to believe that, but going along with that, my buddy was like, "Hey, remember when the Patriots won the Super Bowl right after 9/11?" And I'm like, you know what? It's either in the stars or something else, and it's the year of the tiger. And I think Joe Burrow has the eye of the tiger, and he's gonna whoop some booty next week, and I think it's more than just a coincidence.
Well, I got to give it to you, man. I mean, I'm sure that you've made some of these guys in the chat some money. You've been talking about buying Joe Burrow's rookie cards since we started this show. And I know talking before we came on here, you've been selling, you've been doing, I think you sold out, right?
Sold out of what was active, yes, but I have quite a few more to list, and that's a blessing in disguise because had they all been listed ahead of time, I might not have got top dollar for them. So
I've actually sold just yesterday a pink luminance Joe Burrow rookie card. I was like, wow, I sold it for like $17 or something. Like,
That's just the color variation, right?
yeah, it's a luminance rookie card, so it's kind of got like this little dark background with the field. It's kind of like an action pose, but it just says, it's got the cursive writing on it, the
I
Joe
think
Burrow
those are
cursive.
pretty nice
It's
looking cards.
Nicholas.
Didn't the 2021s just come out?
The 2021 luminance. It
I
may
thought
have.
I saw some at the local hobby shop here, but
It's not a very demanded set. It's probably a set that you could find pretty easily on shelves of retail stores, I imagine. Matt, what's up? Matt in the house. Nicholas.
I will
Nicholas was
say,
actually Nicholas was at the divisional game. He may have been at the He may have been at the championship game. That's cool, man. What's good, Nicholas? Sorry about your Chiefs, but yeah, we're rooting for the Bengals now to go all the way. Incendium Aquila. That's a wild looking profile pic. It's like looks like some kind of eagle or something. That's cool. Filthy in the house with the NFT frog. We're gonna be talking about some rumors tonight, guys. We're also gonna be looking at some pick'ems, some early pick'ems for the Super Bowl. We're going to be talking about landing spots, and we're going to be doing a lot of correlating and comping to football card values. We're doing a little bit of eBay sniping tonight as well.
that sounds like a damn good time, sir. I like some eBay sniping.
And yeah, you were sharing some interesting rumors and statistical comparing before the show. That I want to dig into, man. I want to because we got a lot of coaching rumors and coaching changes. There's going to be some landing spots. Got a lot of quarterback vacancies, and quarterback vacancies means that there's going to be some big fluctuations in card prices whenever these quarterbacks start landing on these various teams.
Yeah, definitely. And then the coaching changes are a bigger effect on the market than most people think, because you might have some coaches that come in and they're like, this guy doesn't fit my scheme. And they might make some personnel changes, or guys that have been featured or are second fiddle, so there might be some shifting of roles when new guys come in, depending on what their philosophy is. So you might have a guy come in and all of a sudden they're running the ball, more than 50 to 60% of the time.
Yes, and the Lions are potentially promoting their tight ends coach. Right now he's the leading contender for their offensive coordinator. I find this pretty interesting, and the Lions wide receiver coach has also come out and said we need way more wide receivers. And Amon-Ra St. Brown was definitely a guy who broke out late in the season and put up a ton of fantasy production and actually led the Lions to their first win of the year. I remember that right at the last play of the game, catching that game-winning touchdown. How do you feel about Amon-Ra St. Brown for next year? I'm sure his card prices are very cheap. Do you think the Lions can turn it around next year?
I will say, and I did say this a little bit towards the end of the season last year, and even the coaches are now coming out and admitting it, that they thought that Goff was simply just going to be a bridge for them. But the way he kind of finished the year, he could actually stick around for a few years there and be their guy. Maybe not the guy, but he can be their guy for a couple of years. He started turning the ball over less. Amon-Ra came to life, and it's unfortunate that Hawkinson was injured. But I think if they have everyone a go, they have a pretty good young core, and maybe are just a few pieces away from doing something.
Well, what I find, that's very fascinating, because they did play a lot better down the stretch. And apparently that's because their tight end coach, Ben Johnson, got way more involved the second half of 2021 with Dan Campbell. They actually, apparently they took over play calling duties from now. They fired their offensive coordinator, Anthony Lynn. So it sounds like Campbell will promote Ben Johnson to being the offensive coordinator. And so we could see a lot more of what they did towards the end of the season.
Yeah, being that being my division of focus for my home team here. If rumors happen to be true and Rodgers works his way out of the division in some way, shape, or form, I think that the Browns could be good enough next season if they keep playing that way. Excuse me, the Lions. That you might be able to pick the division winner with the roll of a dice. I mean, the Bears certainly aren't good right now, and neither is Minnesota, and neither is the Lions. So it might just come down to like strength of schedule or whatever, because you take Green Bay out of the mix, and our division is not very good.
Yeah. And speaking of Chicago, I mean, you guys have been hiring a lot of coaches. So far on paper, it looks like your offense is going to be a lot better. You guys have been hiring some pretty solid offensive minded coaches.
Yeah, man, I will definitely remain skeptical until I start seeing some production, because the current McCaskey family ownership has always underwhelmed every year. We usually pick up some great defensive free agents, and that's like enough to sell some tickets, but they haven't put together like an offensive, not even a juggernaut. They haven't put together like an offensive force of any kind in this franchise in forever. They've never won games with being a great offense, and I would love for that to be the case, because the defense they have right now is good enough to win. They had plenty of injuries this year. Robert Quinn, who in the hobby especially and across the league as far as collectors, was a relatively unknown name. But the guy finished second in sacks in the league, and that was without Khalil Mack on the other side, because that guy missed a lot of the season. So you get both of those guys healthy, and you've got quite the pass rush. So I would love to see the D stay healthy and the offense actually get something going. You can't win a game when your offense is on the field for minutes at a time. You need to put a drive together.
Got to put a drive together, man. Got to put touchdowns in the end zone, right?
Well, I don't know if you saw this, but what was that? The stats for that Mahomes comeback, where he's like, what did he throw for, like 150 yards in like 2 minutes or something like that? Do you remember that a couple of weeks ago when they had that massive comeback?
I don't remember the stats around it.
Yeah, it was something like 150, 160 yards in like a couple minutes, right? And one of the announcers was like, "Hey, that was the Bears' average passing yards per game for the first half of the season." And I was like, "Did you really have to go there, man? Did you really?" It's but it's true. I mean, it's sad, but it's true. And we have a lot of stock in our guy Justin Fields. All we can hope for is that we're not expecting a season 2 miracle, but like some signs of progress would definitely be encouraging.
Very encouraging, man. Very encouraging. JJ Bama, what's going on, man? Gaming God in the house. He says the best eBay sniping is when auctions end at 1 a.m. It's a pretty good time, man. It's a pretty good time. I've actually had my best results, Steve, whenever auctions are ending at like 10 a.m., 3 p.m., stuff like that. Only because I'm not typically up at 1 a.m.
Fair. Yeah, definitely. I've honestly seen a lot of auctions lately, and I don't know if this is intentional or not, that are ending around 7 a.m. And I'm thinking to myself, like, depending on what part of the country you live in, like that's like if it's 7 a.m. my time in California, that's 5 in the morning. You know what I mean? Like that seems like
Mm.
a really bad time to end an auction.
Yeah, really bad time. Really bad time.
I know we, I know we occasionally cover this, and you've covered this on some of your other shows as well too. But just as a refresher, I mean, what's your opinion on like the ideal time of
Like
day?
11 p.m. to midnight Eastern, you know, because you'll get West Coasters at night after they're done doing all their stuff, and they'll be feeling pretty loose and relaxed and laid back. And then you'll get the East Coasters, guys like us who stay up late. Well, you're Central Time, but I'm on East Coast, but I stay up late. Like at midnight, I'm more apt to press a buy button or get into some kind of a bidding war on an item than I would if it ended at like 9 p.m. Eastern. And then that's 6 p.m. Western and or Pacific time, and guys are still busy doing stuff, trying to wrap up their day. So I think that like around 11 to 12 at night Eastern time is the best time to end an auction.
What do you think about this? This seemed to work out for me last week, and this could be a viable strategy if you think it's good. It seemed to have worked for me, but then again, I probably wouldn't have had a hard time selling my burrow for a good price anyway. But I had a base Donruss PSA 10 burrow. I put it up for an auction. I don't typically, list via auction, but I had it end like 20-30 minutes before kickoff on a Sunday. What do you think about that? Because people are going to be thinking football, thinking Bengals. Maybe an hour before kickoff, maybe that would have been better because maybe people are going out for the game or whatever. But then again, it's the modern times, man. People got eBay on their phone and they get the notifications that the auction's ending soon. So
I really like that because I like to think about it like when are you most likely to, if you're not going to do it at night during the week or at night on the weekend, you're going to be making your bets and setting your fantasy lineups, whether it's the prop bets, the player pick'ems, daily fantasy, or just straight up betting on the money line or the spread or the over under. You're going to do it right before the game, leading up to the game, if you're not doing it at night during the week. Or maybe even some people are die hard like us and we're doing it during the day during the week. You can do it right before the game. That's when you'll get all those last minute people, and they're kind of in a rush. They're impulsive. They're in the heat of the moment. They're feeling it. They're fired up. The game's getting ready to start, and they're ready to make some last minute moves. Some of them are gambles, some of them are impulse buys, but you can definitely see a lot of buy it nows on Sundays go for higher, or even auctions that are ending. I think that's a good strategy.
yeah, and I think that we've talked about this before, and you've talked about it with the hype index and stuff like that, and you want to see hype change on a minute to minute basis. An hour before kickoff, there's a lot of hype, right? There's people are getting excited. I mean, we love football, but there's people out there that probably love football more than we do that have like, everything they own is their fan team color, and they got their bedroom walls painted their team colors, and they got socks onto their team and license plate frames of their team and everything. Maybe a tattoo of their team. So there's people that are living the hype life around the clock, and when that game's getting ready to start, the hype meter is off the charts for them.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. It's wonderful to be able to like put in your bets, on like underdog fantasy, right? On your player prop bets, and then immediately like, boom, that's right. I should really take that. And if I'm thinking that Amon-Ra St. Brown's gonna blow up today, go ahead and invest, buy some of his rookie cards before he blows up, because we've seen it time and time and time again this past season that's how the market works now. If guys are blowing up in a game, they're getting all the media coverage, they're getting the number one fantasy performance of the week, they're the peak performer, their rookie cards, the demand for their rookie cards are going up significantly, and that leads to a direct price increase, man. So it's become a very viable strategy for offensive, defensive players, and it's a lot of fun because then you get those cards in the mail and it's like Christmas morning. You get to open them up and they're like, yeah, all right, you know.
The cool thing about the way that the market works with the amount of frequent price fluctuation on a week to week basis is kind of like part of the excitement, right? Like you're already talking about football and football players that you follow and guys you collect, but now you're getting into like the investment part, and it's kind of like exciting. It's not just like I went and bought this stock and it sat in my portfolio and I didn't check my phone for a year, and then I went back and I'm like, hey, look, I made $50, right? I mean, this is like an investment that you can be involved with on a week to week basis, and it's fun, man. Like some people might be bored looking at auctions and scouring eBay for deals, or organizing their cards by team or by rookie or whatever. I mean, it's fun. I think it's fun, man, and I enjoy doing it. I spend quite a few hours a day doing it, and in one side it's rewarding because I do it for my personal collection as well. But in one side it is, you can make it an investment, and then hypothetically a business, depending like how much money you're throwing at it. But it's just fun, make money but have
Absolutely,
fun
man.
too.
And one of the things is because there's so much complexity, there's so much critical thinking that's required to be successful at flipping sports cars now. It's not like it was in the boom in 2020 where you could just go buy all the best players, base cards, and they'll just automatically go up in value into the beginning of the season. And it's so predictable. All you had to know was a few simple things. Now you've actually got to study the sport. You've got to really understand the sport, and you've got to hit your projections right. And you've also got to understand and study the card market. Like this question right here from Joel is a prime example. Tell me how an auction goes for 200 more than a buy it now option. I've seen an auction go for this much more. I've also seen a buy it now go for this much more, and I've seen it many times, Steve.
There's definitely a few reasons, and the most obvious one is the seller might just not have known what the card was worth, right, when he listed it. So he could have had the oh, I see what you're saying, the 200 buy it now. I mean, here's the thing is I think the heat of the moment really gets people more than anything else. But, I'll use another example that kind of fits into that question. I've looked at auctions myself this week where the card was, let's say, at $10 with a minute or two left. And I'm like, ooh, should I bid on this? Let me go see what other cards are listed for. Not what they've been comping for, but what the other ones are listed for currently. And you could have just went and got a buy it now with free shipping for $5, right? So people just kind of hone in on impulse. And if anyone, I'm sure you have, Andy, too, on a card that you might have really wanted, you get into a little bit of a bidding battle with these people. And, once you hit, the threshold, I think, isn't it true once you hit past the buy it now threshold, no one can buy it now anymore, right? I think that's the reason.
Yeah, so you're talking about an auction that has the option of a buy it now on it?
Right. Once someone bids over the buy it now amount, I believe the buy it now amount is negated.
I mean, I would imagine so. Ooh, you saw that jump? I mean, that jumped over $100 in the last second. I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense because that's the whole point of doing an auction, right? I mean, you kind of, the sky's the limit. It's going to go for what market value is, but you could have taken advantage and gone ahead and click that buy it now button, but you also run the risk of that auction falling short of that.
And that's the whole thing is, it could be that either the seller did, set the buy it low too low, and the bidding war just got too hot and then it went above that, or yeah, like you said, maybe somebody thought they were going to be able to just snipe it up last second, and then the turned into a flame war at the last minute. And I mean, if you look at some of these auctions and you actually sit and follow them and watch them as time is expiring, sometimes they will fall off and no one will bid, and you'll be like, why didn't I throw my name in the hat, right? But sometimes you'll be like, how is this going to go for $20? It's $100 card. And then you see with 5 seconds left, it goes for 120. And you're like, okay. I mean, I saw it happen several times this week where the price doubled, tripled in the last 10 seconds.
So what's up, Bush Leaguers? Joel setting the comps. I want to go to a question here. I'm seeing a lot of questions from guys that want to talk about some of the best upcoming free agent quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs. Billy Mose says, what is the best cheap option? What is the best cheap option card for a player that has lots of potential to grow? Hey, what's good, Brian? So what I'm just going to turn it over to you, Steve. What is your favorite rumor right now, whether it's about landing spots or free agency?
I've heard a lot of rumors on the quarterback situations, and I think that it's going to be that way until the draft, most likely. But with there being not a lot of QB depth in the draft, this could be a year where maybe we do see some action before the draft. But I'll just talk about a few that I think are intriguing. One of them is like a possible. One of them seems like a reach, but we'll go over both. The one I thought was kind of interesting and possible is Winston maybe going back to the Bucks. I don't know if you've heard that one, but
I have heard that one.
He would have a lot of weapons, and he's played for the organization before, so that would be interesting. And then maybe far-fetched, maybe not. I think this is the most intriguing rumor I've heard, and that's kind of like a swap of some type between Green Bay and Las Vegas, where Carr ends up on the Packers. And I think that would be very cool. I think that would make things really interesting.
That is very. I have not heard that one. Derek Carr to the Packers. That's with the assumption that Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver. I mean, that's a pretty
it
big
was
indication.
Actually speculated that it would be a trade of some type where Aaron Rodgers is going to the Raiders.
Oh, where Aaron Rodgers goes to the Raiders.
Yep.
With Josh McDaniels just hired from the New England Patriots.
That being a key component of that rumor, yes.
Wow. Okay. Back to the Jameis Winston, because this is very right. I mean, one of the biggest storylines this week is Tom Brady retiring. Man, it's bittersweet, man. I'm super thankful for the 2 wonderful seasons that we got. The Super Bowl championship. Hosting the first year that I hosted this channel was an absolute dream, man. I couldn't have wished for anything better, being a lifelong Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. But this puts us in a very interesting situation. One, I'll say Tom Brady hasn't officially stepped behind a podium on national television and said he's retiring.
So I have to agree with you, man. And I know we've had that conversation. We live in a weird world now where stuff is unexplainable and happens in a strange fashion all the time. It's almost like a real life soap opera, I sometimes feel like everything is like Vince McMahon of the WWE is like writing the script for our lives and the NFL as well too, man. Seriously, the way things end sometimes, and you're like, how could that have happened organically, right? And yeah, I do think that I've been saying it since day one. I am a little more convinced that he did write that Instagram post. He never actually said the words "I'm retired," right?
No, he didn't.
Not even in the post, and he still hasn't had some kind of press conference, which he was supposedly supposed to have the other day in New England, supposedly.
Well, this is the thing. There was a roster bonus tied to Tom Brady. I think it is February 4th, I believe. So the speculation was that it leaked. They were trying to cover it up, and so his dad came out and said he hasn't made a decision yet. But then he finally, I guess, felt pressured to make a post about it, but is nothing official because I think he wants to get that bonus, whatever it was, here in the next day or so, and just like taken away from the whole, coverage or like thunder of the Super Bowl. So I don't think that he'll actually publicly announce anything till after the Super Bowl. Hopefully, maybe he plays again, but I mean, it's still up in the air.
It's definitely still up in the air. It could have just been like, who knows? It could have just been like a way to generate a buzz for football or for the media or for whatever. I don't think that he would intentionally try to take attention away from other teams in any way, shape, or form. But maybe the guy just wants like a quiet off season, and then he's gonna pull a Gronk and roll up like a month or two before the season starts and just start chucking TDs again. So we'll see what happens.
Well, okay, so this is very interesting. So if he does retire, we're only $7.6 million under the salary cap. So we probably can't afford a guy like Rodgers or Russell Wilson or any of these other high-end QBs looking to escape their current situation. But we talked about Jameis Winston. He's again a free agent. He would make sense as a short-term option. He would be good for Chris Godwin and Mike Evans' values because he would be lighting them up. We know he's going to push the ball down the field. That could equate to a lot of touchdowns and production for Godwin and Evans, which would be good. Or we could get a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, and that would be like the worst case scenario, in my opinion, for Mike Evans and Chris Godwin's values and production. So that's a wide range of outcomes.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right on that. And I think that the carousel of players moving around this offseason, it has the potential to be one of the loudest off seasons that we've seen in quite a long time, in my opinion. Who would have thought, if you said at the beginning of last season, like, yeah, Winston will end up back with the Bucs next year? I mean, who would have believed that, right? Who would have believed that Brady wouldn't continue playing after having his best statistical season of his career, right? Who would believe that? And, let's be honest, like, if not for a cheap shot to Godwin's knee and their line woes going into that last game, they still almost won, right? So I don't know. I think Winston would be a good, exciting fill-in. I don't know if he's probably not like their long-term solution, but they also haven't officially said if they would even consider starting Trask or not. But I don't see why they wouldn't have it on the table.
A couple other very interesting free agents this offseason are Marcus Mariota, who's currently behind the depth chart, behind Derek Carr for the Raiders, and Mitchell Trubisky, currently on the Buffalo Bills.
I'll tell you what, Andy, if the Bucs were to sign Trubisky would have played for my two favorite football teams between the Bears and the Bucs, and I would have to go out and be a day one jersey owner of Trubisky on the Bucs if that were to happen.
That's what Carter told me. He said everybody in Chicago loves Trubisky. He didn't get the proper opportunity.
No. I mean, you have a lot of loudmouths that don't understand the game of football that say he was trash, but he definitely wasn't trash. The guy never was given a fair shot at being successful. He didn't have much of a college career. He didn't play much in college, and then he comes into the Bears and plays under four different offensive coordinators in a brief stint, and it's like, you got to have consistency. This guy is still developing. He was very young, and you want to give these guys a chance to finish their development. When the guy doesn't play a full college career, he's probably still developing. You can't it's not like the NBA where you can walk off at 17, 18 years old and playing the bigs. Like it's a much more complicated game.
Dang, is that Trubisky?
Guy's got some pipes.
Dude, he looks jacked on
He's
this
got
card.
some freaking pipes.
The Rooks.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I got a couple of nice Mitch PSA 10s and whatnot that were purchased after he left Chicago because they were pretty expensive when he was here. And obviously, I got them for pretty cheap. If I were to even buy them right now, with all the rumors of him going to another team or whatever, I would surely be paying a lot more than I did when I got him. So that's kind of like why this show is a great thing, because we give people a heads up about when to get involved, and timing is 100% of going to save you money on buying cards for yourself, or if you're going to flip them so you can make a couple extra bucks instead of breaking even.
Heck yeah. Going back to the chat here, Denver is hiring a lot of ex Green Bay coaches, which I think is the connection to Aaron Rodgers, the offensive coordinator, the tight ends coach, both to Denver. You've also got Peyton Manning forming a trust fund group with John Elway and looking to buy the Denver Broncos. I could see Peyton trying, definitely getting involved in the personnel decisions of that team with Elway. Plus, they got the thin air in Denver. Cutler was Jay Cutler was pretty successful there. I think that was one of the reasons potentially. So it's some interesting things around Denver for sure. I think Denver's definitely going to get a quarterback upgrade at some point this year. KJ Hamler is a guy who's got 4.3 speed, Billy Moe. And I think KJ Hamler could definitely, he's super cheap right now. He could definitely go boom this upcoming season.
I've definitely picked up my fair share of KJ Hamlers, and I just opened some in my mail package today. And, the guy, player profiler, compares him closest to, what's his name? The guy that used to be on the Eagles, the deep threat, Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, Deshaun Jackson is one of his best comparable players. And going back to Mitchell Trubisky, shout out to Forrest here in the chat. What's good, Forrest? I'm loving that profile pic, man. I hope you're staying warm. But they signed Brian Daboll, who's the offensive coordinator from the Buffalo Bills. He's now on the Giants. Trubisky's already played in Daboll's system for a year. He's had some training with them. That's a connection there. I do think that the New York media scrutiny, the pressure that the New York media places on its players and its coaching staffs are very extreme. So I think you have a little bit higher turnover there. I do think they potentially trade Daniel Jones. I think they could potentially trade Daniel Jones and he goes someplace and plays pretty well, honestly.
Yeah, I was pretty sold on the Trubisky to the Giants rumor. But like a day or two later, the Giants came out and said that they still like Daniel Jones and they don't think that they've given him a fair shake. Mm-hmm. So now I'm not. And I don't think anyone else should be either. I mean, it does make sense for Trubisky to go there, but I mean, they're not wrong with the Daniel Jones thing. I mean, outside of Barkley, when he's played, 40% of the games of the season and not been injured, like what's he really had around him to flourish with? I mean, is there ever a Giants receiver that plays more than half the season? Sterling Shepard, for example. You know what I mean? Like who's he throwing the ball to? That's the hard thing about football is you could be really good, but if you don't have someone to throw the ball to, there's not a lot you can do. I mean, people make the comparison all the time. They said if Mahomes was drafted by the Bears instead of Trubisky, would he be Mahomes? And I don't know if that's the case or not. Would he still be really good? Probably, but he wouldn't be as good as he is right now throwing to some of the bums we've had on our offense, you know.
Yeah, and you got Kadarius Toney, got him going a little bit last year, but he couldn't stay healthy. Evan Ingram can never seem to stay healthy. You're right, man. Saquon Barkley's had serious struggles staying healthy. Sterling Shepard, the same thing. And now he's just not a standout receiver, you know. Darius Slayton is not the guy either, man.
No, they need a possession guy. It doesn't even have to be like a superstar, right? You need a guy that can move the chains on third down, and just someone who's not hurt every week is a step in the right direction, right? And obviously, they say you can't predict injuries, but I'm not even joking. I've never seen a team that has receivers hurt every week. Like, I'm not sure entirely why that is, but it seems like every week someone on their receiving core is out, and that's just not a recipe for winning.
So you saying they need a guy like Devontae Adams or
Well, I think everybody does. I would welcome that.
Hey, he's a free agent this offseason.
Let's say like Allen Robinson circa 2020, or you know what I mean? Like, or like a Danny Amendola from like 6 years ago, or a Julian Edelman from like 4 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, you need like a reliable guy, and then Tony can maybe turn into like their alpha receiver, maybe, possibly. He's not there yet, but I've seen some incredible athletic plays out of him.
Yeah, I have seen some incredible athletic plays. Also, Chris Godwin's a free agent. I know he tore his ACL at the end of this season, but dude, he was running around on the sideline testing out his knee, trying to come back in after he tore his ACL.
I remember that.
You remember that? I mean,
Yeah.
pretty damn tough. And what's interesting, he did have some drop issues that plagued him during our 2020 Super Bowl run, but I think that was just more of like that was his first Super Bowl run. He was obviously maybe a little bit of nerves, but we didn't see that this past year. That is clearly behind him. He was clearly operating as one of Tom Brady's favorite targets. Like, he was on track to be a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL before he got hurt. And you could arguably say if it was him that Brady was throwing the ball to in the divisional round instead of Tyler Johnson, then there wouldn't have been those timing issues and that kind of stuff. And maybe we would have converted some more of those plays. The whole game script would have been different. So he's a free agent, and we haven't been able to come to terms with him yet. And with his statistical season last year, he's going to be able to get a pretty nice contract somewhere.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget how bad it was at wide receiver for the Buccaneers towards the end of the year, and in the playoffs, I should say, and they still almost won. I mean, you had a guy that, Tyler Johnson, who's just fine, but the guy's seen almost no targets the entire year. You can't expect him to be on the same page as Brady with very little reps, and he's not getting starter reps in practice, right? And then what's his name? Cyril Gray.
Cyril Grayson, yeah.
Undrafted track star. How many starter reps do you think that guy saw all season?
Very,
None.
very few.
Yeah. So you have guys that have been just on the sidelines watching the show, and now you're like, all right, well, now you guys have to do everything. It's not conducive to winning. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just plug a guy in and expect him to put numbers up. These guys, receivers especially, timing is everything with their quarterback.
Very true, man. Check this out. This ends in at 11 o'clock tonight. It's numbered out of just 25, man.
I like those. I have one of the red ones.
That's a good looking card, man, for being so rare.
I have the Godwin and the Fournette of the red ones.
I like that, man. He's definitely going to make a full recovery. That's the thing with today's modern medicine technology, sports medicine technology, the technology they're using now in these surgeries, how they're able to repair Achilles torn tendon. I mean, look at Cam Akers, for crying out loud, man. I mean, he's a testament to today's modern sports medicine technology. So, like, it's these guys are going to keep bouncing back, arguably stronger, a lot of them. I think what it comes down to a lot is their training regimen and how they're training. You know, things like heavy squats and heavy deadlifts and stuff are putting quite a bit of stress like on those joints, aren't they, Steve? I mean, I would think that they'd be want to do like more jumping and explosive plyometrics and wind sprints and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if you look at how serious these guys take training now, and the importance of proper physical therapy and recovery and stuff like that. I don't know the exact dollar amount, but I do believe that LeBron James has 3 personal physical therapists that cost him about $1 million a year to have. But I mean, think about it. Like, your well-being as an athlete is your livelihood, right? And people
Hmm.
always talk about, like, ACL injuries in the 80s and the 90s and stuff like that, and that was a death sentence. Your career was over when that happened. But you got to also remember, we've come a long way as far as training. We've come a long way as far as rehabbing. We've come a long way as far as, like, understanding that diet and lifestyle play a big role, in health and in performance and stuff like that. So, it's you can't even compare the two right now. But yeah, guys are playing longer. They're faster than they've ever been. They're more muscular than they've ever been. The linemen back then were like wide, but not necessarily, as strong, right? They were big bodied dudes, man. Like, look at the Fridge Perry. That's a big dude. Like, now you have D tackles that are like as solid as a marble countertop. They're still big, but the game has changed entirely. You have linebackers playing on the outside that can keep up with receivers. That was unheard of back then.
Very true. And I think that's a lot of why I think that tight ends, receiving style tight ends like Kyle Pitts and Travis Kelsey and Gronk and TJ Hawkinson and Dallas Goddard and all these guys are becoming more and more relevant. They're getting more and more opportunity. They're getting more and more targets in the offense. And in turn, they're getting more hype and their rookie cards are going up. So, I find it interesting. Like Mike Williams, for example, I'm looking at right now. He's actually going to be a free agent this offseason. And I don't think that it's that the Chargers have fully committed to him yet, because he got less and less opportunity as the year wound down. But I think that's because of one of his teammates in Josh Palmer, the rookie, that they were giving more and more opportunity to. He's on a rookie contract. Why potentially, pay up for a new Mike Williams contract when you can see what you got in this rookie? And the rookie played pretty dang well coming down the stretch for the Chargers. So much so, I don't know if they're going to actually re-sign Mike Williams. I do think that Mike Williams did kind of break out last year, and he probably earned himself a pretty nice contract somewhere this upcoming year. I just don't know where just yet.
Yeah, I think that's going to come down to what his priorities are, right? Because he could go somewhere, another contender, let's say, and maybe they don't have uh, maybe they don't have like a guy like him on the team, and maybe they don't have as much money to offer him, but he wants to win. Or he could just say, I'm going to go to the Jaguars and make as much money as possible, right? So I think that's what it comes down to. He could go to the Jets, actually. He could actually go there. I think that I mean, what do you think he'll command money wise? I don't even know what he's making right now, but is he making like the equivalent of Godwin? Would you say?
No, not quite as much. So right now he is making. I'm going back to okay. Here we go. So his current contract projection is 4 years, 68 million, 17 million per year, 38 million total guaranteed. Chris Godwin's contract projection is set 4 years, 70 million, 17.5 million per year, 36.5 million total guaranteed.
So pretty comparable.
Yeah, it's pretty comparable. He's definitely demanding a little bit higher, but not much though. You're right. It's pretty close. Pretty close.
I was gonna say if there was a little bit of a disparity there, I mean that wouldn't be a bad guy for the Bucks to pick up if Godwin leaves, but it sounds like he's gonna be looking for way too much money.
Yeah, I think both those guys are looking for a lot of money. And the thing is, 2017 cards are pretty scarce, like the good ones, that we won. I mean, they do pop up. And that's why I think it's really important to have those guys saved as searches, like save something specific, whether it's 2017 Optic, Chris Godwin, or 2017 Prism, Mike Williams, or 2017 Rookie Ticket Auto with those guys and save that as a search because there's just not a whole lot of good. 2017 was one of those weird years that, it's really like, it is kind of simple. You want something from Prism, Optic, or Rookie Ticket Auto, or maybe some of the select stuff is pretty nice too. But I think clearly after talking to all you guys, like polling you guys in my last video, it seems that the Optic from 2017 is a clear winner.
Yeah, and it seems like I mean I would say I don't know the numbers, I don't have them in front of me, but without even looking it up, I think it's pretty safe to say that the print run of any set from 2017 compared to 2021 is drastically lower, right? And you had a lot of those sets that were hobby only in 2017 and in some of them in 2018 as well. So that definitely puts cards in the hands of fewer collectors, right?
It really does, man. It really does. And yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. And not to mention the fact that that's the draft class that Mahomes and Deshaun Watson stuff came out of. So the sealed wax from that year is highly demanded. People want to get their hands on that. There's so many good skill position players that came out of that draft class as well. As is just an incredible year to invest in sealed wax. So that stuff is super expensive and rare. People want to get their hands on that. So, man, look how nice these 2021 Spectras look. Bro. That's a sick
I
looking
got
card.
I did end up getting one of that card you're looking at. I got the pink out of 25. I got it last night actually.
What's up, Jay? Jay's somebody's on PEDs. I'm popping back to the chat here.
You know, we were talking a little bit about rumors earlier, and can't confirm this, but I have heard someone say that they think Gallup will resign with Dallas and that they'll trade Amari Cooper away. What do you think of that?
Oh, really?
And if you think about it, you can get a lot more in return for Amari Cooper. I mean,
absolutely.
He's already shown too that he's upset with not getting, what he feels is like an alpha target share. You can't. That's one of the problems with when you have a really good receiving core, and you get two people that want the ball all the time. It happens in the NBA too. You get two guys that want the ball every time you're going down the court. That does create animosity because they feel like they're the guy that should be in control of the game most of the time.
Yeah, and Gallup is, I mean, he's pretty good, man. Besides
When he's in the
a little
game.
yeah, when he's in the game, some injury struggles. Some injury struggles for Gallup. Otherwise, he is pretty dang good when he's in there. But if they're not even they weren't even targeting CeeDee Lamb in the divisional playoff game when they lost. I think they got bigger fish to fry than I'll worry about Amari Cooper.
From what I heard, the front office, I guess, was going off about him not getting the ball very much.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I mean, as good as that guy was during the year, it seems pretty ridiculous.
So I don't know what you feel, but I feel pretty confident that the Steelers are going to draft a quarterback. I mean, that's what all the expert consensus is leaning is to the Steelers drafting either Kenny Pickett from Pitt or Malik Willis in the draft.
Interesting. Yeah, I've heard that too. I don't think that they're looking to start someone right away, though. They have good receivers. Like they could compete. They made the playoffs this year, right? They are essentially built to win to some magnitude right now. So I couldn't see them starting a rookie quarterback immediately. It doesn't seem to make sense. They're going to definitely have to bring a veteran in, right, to compete.
Yeah, I mean, they got Dwayne Haskins. I know Brian's out there. He's confident Mason Rudolph is going to become the starting quarterback, but Malik Willis seems like he's a coin toss. He's like a wild card QB from a smaller school. But if you think about the storyline, right, in 2004, the Pittsburgh Steelers owner took a chance on Ben Roethlisberger from a small school, and he panned out for them. And I think if a guy like Malik Willis is still on the board whenever it gets to Pittsburgh, I could see them pulling the trigger on a guy like that. I think ultimately we've got to see some increased hype for Juju and Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson this upcoming year. I think Juju's going to get re-signed by the Steelers. I think they're going to keep those guys, and they're going to try and get in some type of serviceable QB. They're obviously going to have competition, and we may not know who the Steelers starting quarterback is till the preseason.
Yeah, I don't know the off-field ramifications, but I think in a perfect world, the Steelers would want to get Deshaun Watson out of all quarterbacks available. He seems to fit that offense the best. Whether or not he plays this year or football again is a different story. But of all the people available, I think he would give them the best chance to win. And he fits their style of play too. And I unfortunately have to agree with the assessment of Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, I mean, Najee Harris improve the offensive line. I could see them going through a little rebuild mode, right? If that's the case, then I do feel like I want to load up on some more Najee Harris. I mean, I felt like that he was considerably undervalued being the number one 2021 running back. And guy's a stud, man. He's super tough, obviously fully versatile in receiving, rushing. And I think that his stock should continue to appreciate. Now, the question is, do you want to buy him now with the thought that Prism's going to be released in April and Select in May, Contenders in early March, and optic at some point. Who knows? Whenever they get all these supply chain issues figured out. So it is kind of tricky when investing in some of these 2021 guys. I definitely see that, Steve. What are your thoughts around investing in some 2021 guys right now, with the current products available? I'm not gonna lie. When I got the news that Tom Brady retired, I did make an impulse buy on a press proof red Kyle Trask rated rookie that I grabbed in a buy. And I was like, it's $10, man. If he gets announced the starter, this press proof red rated rookie could appreciate big time in value here by the draft. So my plan is to flip that card before the draft, before Prism comes out, before Select comes out, pretty much before any more major Panini sets come out.
As a fan of Trask, I thought with 100% certainty I had another year of loading up on his cards, but that would seem to be not the case all of a sudden. And there was a lot of people already buying him, people we know, and obviously just people on eBay. But now with the Brady news, that there's a huge void now on a almost Super Bowl team, in which now his name could be thrust into that vacancy. So it's interesting, man. It's interesting because now you have he could be starting this year realistically now, whereas before he was a 2-3 year hold, right? So people were paying the appropriate price for a 2-3 year hold quarterback. Now they're paying almost a starter price quarterback for a guy that's a rookie. So that complicates things a lot. I mean, anytime you can find it a good deal, obviously go for it. But I do think that if you're looking for Trask in any of the sets that are out right now, you might find some better deals as around draft time.
I love it, man. And I see so much value already building for Trask, demand building, value building. Like, it's crazy to see a Mosaics autograph card go for $140 on a backup quarterback, but he checks all the other boxes that we talk about around FOMO. Like you're talking about, it's so sensitive. We're a potential Super Bowl contending team with the GOAT, playing behind the GOAT for even just 1 year. He retires. Trask is under contract. Blaine Gabbert's not under contract. And so it's like he's the only guy that's really guaranteed to be on the team in 2022 in the quarterback depth chart at this point. And this is a new product. And so it's just so sensitive. I mean, even this card going to $140. It's a good picture too. And see, the guy ended it at night. He checks all the boxes here as a seller, a feedback, everything. So I like my chances of being able to buy some red press proof rated rookies right now for $10, potentially lower if I can catch them ending in an auction because somebody doesn't really know what they're doing, selling on eBay, and then taking good pictures and listing those and selling those at night, like building into the draft and potentially making some money. I do like the press proof premium stock. Shout out to SG4 Sports Cards here in the chat. I love that Annoy comment, Annoy, Kyle Trask, absolute auto for 25. That's sick. 25 Trask rated rookies for $20. That's awesome, Jay. So you see the guys here are getting in early on Trask. I should have been getting in earlier with Raven and some of these, with Jay and some of these guys. I think this press proof premium stock does look good. This is a bad photo, but this card actually looks like it's like a gold optic hollow or something.
It definitely does. And I'm sure we've had this conversation about the optic previews before and how they're pretty scarce.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a version which is very uncommon, is the red optic preview. It is that and the green are probably the two scarcest, but the all red one, which is a color match, so it's the rarest and it's a color match. That if you can grab yourself one of those, that might be really nice.
Oh yeah. But look at this market inefficiency. This is the kind of like save this search, right? 2021 Press Proof Premium Kyle Trask. Seller A right here knows what he's doing. He gets his $20 for his Press Proof Premium Kyle Trask, just like all the other ones are going for around $20 you see here. Seller B doesn't know what he's doing, sells his card for $4 and a plain white envelope just to liquidate the card. I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot of feedback. He probably didn't realize or didn't comp the card out to see what it was going for. And I guarantee you this sold within a matter of, I don't know, it must have sold pretty quick, a matter of it being in there a couple days or less, I would imagine.
You know, it's interesting. It's true. You know, I have saved searches set up for cards that I typically look for on a week-to-week basis. But I also have saved searches for cards that rarely come up on eBay, right? So I've gotten a email notification with the listing, and I've checked that listing. We're talking about like within 5 minutes, and the card was sold already. So if somebody is listing a card for 1/5 of what it's typically selling for, it's not going to last, right? Especially a guy that people are out buying currently, it's just not going to last. I going back to the Trask thing, I think that you would probably agree with this, that as much as the coaches talk him up, Blaine Gabbert just isn't a guy that is a starter, right? You know, he can stand there and hold a clipboard really well, I'm sure, but on the field, not so much.
Yeah, not so much. And you look at this guy's store, it's a lot of baseball. It's some weird little Funko keychain. It's a couple brand new 2021 football cards. Like he just got into the hobby, maybe got some packs, ripped some packs. I don't know. He must have maybe bought that set of Press Proof Premium, got some stuff from Target, and he's selling them. And that's what you want to save, man, because obviously he's got 100% positive feedback. I'm sure it was legit, and somebody just made an instant 5x because they were able to buy that card, and they're going to immediately relist it for $20 and 5x their money. This is kind of easy wins to look out for.
Yeah, that's big, man. That's 5x is, I mean, really good. I mean, even doubling up is really good. So 5x is, that's the dream, man. I mean, I know it's not thousands of dollars, but you know, most people are happy if they get a scratch off lotto ticket and win $1, right? 5xing your money is a big deal.
And like instantaneous, like the player doesn't even have to do anything. I mean, that's like stuff back from 2020 right there.
And here's the thing is, like, you know, it might be 5 to 7 days till this guy gets his card in the mail. By then they could have announced Trask the starter for next year, and maybe he made 10x, right? 20x.
Yeah, this card goes up to $50-$60. I mean, because that's what the Trey Lances are up to now. Check this out. I mean, Trey Lance yesterday, 40 on these Press Proof Premiums. So, I mean, that's double what the Trask are at, and that's because Trey Lance obviously had a lot more draft capital. He's a more explosive athlete, dual threat, arguably bigger market, San Francisco. And it's like clear that Jimmy G is done. He's out of there. So, and they spent all this money on Trey Lance. You think that he's going to most likely be the starter week 1, 2022.
Yeah, I know that QB hype is a very big thing in the hobby and in NFL in general. But I got to admit, I do honestly think his cards at current prices are still too high. I mean, sure, there's a ton of hype, a lot of draft capital, but I mean, you know, as someone who's been collecting since I was a kid, Do you know how many number one first round quarterbacks have come and gone without making any impact in the league whatsoever? You know, we may have been spoiled by the 2020 QB draft class, right? And again, I'm not saying that I don't believe in the guy, but I don't know that I've seen enough to warrant his prices going for like pre-Burrow breakout-esque prices, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do. I think Trey Lance is definitely overpriced right now. I won't touch him because I think he's almost gonna definitely. Hey, these rated rookies are gonna go down in value. I think it's gonna be hard to squeeze any orange juice out of this orange at this point.
It, right. Yeah, and
And
if you look at
yeah,
where his price, if you look at where his prices are right now, they're very high. So you have to ask yourself, you know, where can they go from here? And you start comparing them to other elite QBs, and it's like you can't possibly suggest that they're going to be worth more than other more established elite QBs. Their rookie cards, after he plays just a handful of games, they might spike for a week or two. You might get lucky, but like you said, the minute these optics and prisms come out, the Donruss rated rookies are going to automatically have a default lower appreciation simply because there's a superior product out. And I'm not
mm-hmm.
saying that the Donruss product is bad, but there's definitely a disparity in print run. There's a disparity in print quality. You can prove that with any other rookie. Go look up an optic of Pat Mahomes and look up a Donruss of Pat Mahomes and look at the price disparity. It's massive.
Massive. I'm seeing some serious disparity here in Justin Fields. That's pretty interesting on these press proof premiums, man. I'm seeing difference like buy it now is going for low. I get it. That's a bad picture. It does show refraction on that side, but compared to this one, going for 33 in an auction, but then you have buy it now is going for 35, 26, and then you have another buy it now. Wait a minute, that's the same picture from the day before. That's kind of weird. Maybe that's weird. Then
Could
you
have just
got
somebody might have borrowed someone's photo.
well, you've got another buy it now or auction going here for 15. And I was thinking because at the very top here, I'm like, wait a minute, look at this auction that went 2 days ago for 44. Right next to it's a buy it now the same day that went for 20. That the guy's still got one or two left at 20. And I'm like, wow, man, that's a pretty big disparity. But I could see people getting in bidding wars in Chicago over Justin Fields.
I'll tell you, this is interesting. And, being here, living here, it's very divided. It's very divided on the percentage of people that think that he's going to be successful in the league. Honestly, you have the one half of people on the extreme side that think that he's going to be the guy that's going to take us back to the promised land, and then you have the other half of the people that are like Tavares Jackson 2.0. So I don't know. I mean, honestly, like I on a week to week basis, I change where I stand on the guy, but he's got the weapons, no doubt,
Mm-hmm.
no doubt. He's got the weapons. With the style of quarterback he is, it hurts me to say that he's taken some rough ass hits this year. He's taken some brutal hits this year, and his style of play is not conducive to getting hit all the time, right? He is tough. I will say this: he's an absolute tough guy. But if your legs are a key component of you being a great quarterback, taking shots all the time is not going to lengthen your career in any way, shape, or form.
Mm. Very true. Have you? Do you have a lot of Joel is going to a card show this weekend in Houston. And I haven't been to one since I was a kid. And he's got a Brady Bowman PSA 8.5. I think 2600. I mean, seems it's a base Bowman, so it's not the Bowman Chrome, but still.
We're talking? I'm assuming he's asking about a rookie, correct?
Yeah. That's the Brady 2000 Bowman Brady.
I do believe I saw on a show yesterday that some were going in the range of 3,500 and up. So I would look again at recent comps for this week, because obviously they've gone up since last week.
Do you think you could get more or less at a show?
From my experience, people going to the shows are all in the hobby themselves and are typically looking for deals.
Mm-hmm.
So, but at the same time, you're also talking about a Tom Brady rookie card, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think it kind of depends. Is like if you could find the right guy at the show, and maybe there's no other Tom Brady rookie cards at the show. Now you've got something really special, and you can kind of like wave it around. Hey, everybody, I got a Tom Brady rookie card. Like on
yeah,
your
I
back,
would
so you
just
get mugged.
if
I
you're gonna
guess you
go to
don't
the
want to.
show, if you're gonna go to the show, know that people are gonna uh, try to. I mean, lowball's the word. Realistically, they're gonna want to buy the card from you, and they're gonna want to resell it at the same show. I'm just gonna tell you right out. That's what's gonna probably happen. You will sometimes see the same card get passed around the show over the course of a weekend several times, right? So just have a price in mind of what you want for the card before you go in there and kind of try to stick to it.
Yeah, because you could get overwhelmed. You could get pressured into a situation pretty quickly if you don't already have something predetermined in your head that you're not going to accept less than. Now you're like having to think on the fly, and yeah, I think that's smart, man. Smart. Have a threshold set up. I'm not going to take lower than 2,500 or maybe even $3,000 for this card, because let's face it, man, this is his iconic rookie card. I do see a spike coming when he actually steps behind that podium and announces that he's retired, and that's after the Super Bowl. I expect for us to see a spike in demand at that time, and then there's a cool off, and then it's like Drew Brees. The same exact thing happened to Drew Brees last year. I don't know why I would see it with Brady. Brady's even got more championships and more statistics now than Brees. So I think we see the spike, and then I think we see a cool off. So I think if you're going this weekend, I would not accept less than $3,000. Like something like that.
Yeah, be firm. And actually, Andy, I wanted to mention this, and I forgot last week, probably because my internet was down. But one thing to take into consideration, like unless you are desperate to sell the card, you are desperate to get rid of it, or you just need the money. Be a little firm when you're selling your card. If you know that it's been selling for around this price, and you believe in your heart that the card is, let's say, $30, it's worth $30, and you're getting, hey, would you sell it for 18? Hey, would you sell it for 20? But you know it's worth 30. Maybe you just got to sit on it a little bit longer. Two things to consider. First one is take the 30 when you can get it, as long as you're not desperate for the cash. And there's a few reasons why you should do that. Think about comps, right? Where do comps come from? Comps come from sales, buy it nows, or auctions from other users and buyers, right? So if you sell someone a card at half price or near half price, and maybe the next person does it, now there's comps for 15 or 18 or whatever
Mm-hmm.
the case is for a card that should be going for 30. And if that happens enough times in a row in a 30-day period, comps are going to look really low for the future of that card, hypothetically. So That's one thing to consider. And then the other is this. I get offers fielded all the time, and a lot of times it's like people obviously don't want to pay what you're asking for a card, even if it's a fair price. You're going to have people that think that you're the half price store or Dollar Tree when they're making offers or whatever. Because what are they trying to do? They're trying to buy from you, and they're trying to flip, right? But that's not what those aren't the people you're really targeting when you're selling a card. So I had a guy this week on a $60 card offer me 30. I said no thanks. 40. I said no thanks. Price is firm. And then an hour later, I heard my phone go off, and he bought it for the asking price of 60. So like, don't feel rushed. Like, and that's another reason why you don't put your your personal money into it. Don't, like they say, play with house money, man. After you get it rolling, it's carefree. Don't feel pressured to sell it. Just if you know it's worth what you're asking for it, just be easy. The price, someone will buy it, right? It might take a little longer, but somebody will buy it.
Yeah, that's some great points you made, man. Because if you accept an offer that's too low, and too many that happens, you set a new precedent that almost makes it that much more difficult for the next guy to get his money, like to make a decent profit out of the card, that kind of thing. And I mean, look, you definitely want to leave the next person, the buyer, with the feeling that they have room for financial growth in the card. And certainly with a card, there's always room for financial growth, as he's, until Joe Burrow plays, so that until he's 44 and breaks Brady's records, then, he's going to be the GOAT. So I think long term, if the hobby continues to grow and stuff, it'll go up, and that card will go up in value. But I mean, yeah, man, I like, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. I agree with some interesting points there you made.
Speaking of Burrow, I saw an interesting thing today that if he were to win the Super Bowl, that he would be the first quarterback in a 3-year period to win a college championship, a Heisman Award, and a Super Bowl championship. Now that would be something.
Wow. It's the year of the Tiger, man. But he's on quite an impressive run. Quite an impressive run. And we didn't even get into his over-unders to some of his pick'ems. We're probably going to do more next week, because we spent this whole show. There's so many rumors going around right now in the NFL. And the earlier we can actually take action on these, I think right now the better we'll be, because I don't think the market's going to actually peak until the draft. That's where the rumors peak, we'll really start to see what the landscape is going to look like for 2022. So in fact, guys, something to watch out for next week. We're going to start doing best ball drafts. We've been doing player pick'ems on Underdog Fantasy. If you're a new user, you get 100% instant deposit bonus using promo code QUEST. So that's wonderful. You also get a special place in my heart because it helps the channel grow. And I just had a conversation with the marketing director from Underdog Fantasy earlier today, actually, Steve. This is brand new breaking news that I'll be putting in a video. But if we get to 100 new signups this year, he is going to sponsor a hobby box break on this channel. So
nice.
I'm really excited. Yeah, we're already halfway there. We've gotten 52 new signups since I started my partnership with Underdog Fantasy. So we only have 49 more to go. We'd be at 101, and we'd be golden. So help us get there, guys. One of the best things you guys can do, you guys in the chat, is to share this live stream or share this channel with your friends. Let them know about what Underdog Fantasy is all about. Let them know what the Fantasy Football Card Quest is all about. I'm talking your friends that are diehard football fans, fantasy football enthusiasts. Maybe they dabble in football cards, or maybe they're diehards about football cards like we are. But share this channel and share promo code QUEST with them, so we can get to that that threshold, we could do the hobby box break. One more thing I wanted to mention though about this is they've got an NFL big board draft that is NFL big board. So yeah, there it is. The NFL big board. It's a 2022 NFL pre-draft best ball. So what's wild about this, Steve, is this has got all the rookies from the upcoming draft on it. All the skill position rookies. They don't actually have teams. So we're drafting with the anticipation and projecting which teams they're going to land on. So this is a lot of fun, man, because
that's interesting.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and it's I think this is going to be one of the more fun formats that we can do right now, because we're going to be speculating and discussing, talking about where these guys are going to land and how it's going to affect the skill position players around them and the quarterbacks and everything. And you draft it and you forget it, and you potentially win money at the end of the year. And you could use some of your instant deposit bonus up to $100 using promo code Quest, and you can do a bunch of these for free essentially. So yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited, Steve. We're gonna get rolling on some of these next week.
I think to add on to what Andy said, obviously, it's a lot of fun. Like best ball and weekly pick'ems are not only fun, but can be profitable, if you hit a couple here and there. But it helps the channel too, and it helps Andy out and lets him make more content. And Andy puts out a lot of content, so we do appreciate him for that. But help him out. His time is valuable. And think about this: if you just share it with like one or two friends or whatever, and they hop on, you guys can, get in a little best ball drafts with each other and have some fun doing that. I know I'm looking forward to doing some next week or the week after with Andy here. And I would love to watch you guys get a break on the show and win some cards for free.
Yeah, man, that would be a blast. And you never know, you could win this best ball tournament at the end of the year. It's a $50,000 first place prize. You could buy quite a few hobby boxes with that.
Quite a few.
Quite a few. So let's see. Man, hey, Steve, did you ever buy any cards? I know you probably bought some cards on Star Stock.
I actually never did. I signed up. So when I found this channel and joined the Patreon, I checked out Star Stock, and I did often use it as like a point of reference for looking up sets and occasionally prices, comparisons with eBay and stuff like that. Never actually did. I've been more into ComC than Star Stock, but yeah, just from what I've heard, I would definitely be a little wary.
Yeah, the thing is, if you buy them now, the problem is they're not getting any traffic on their website, and now it's even worse. Now it's even worse about the recent news, them laying off a bunch of people, clearly going through some restructuring, financial struggles. Looks like they're shifting more to potentially becoming an NFT type of platform and website. The CEO admitted to extensive shipping delays. So if you're trying to buy cards with the hopes that you pull them off of there and flip them on eBay, maybe you could buy some GOAT players that are kind of already have their legacy set in stone. Like if you can find some deals and people are just trying to like liquidate and take deals, and then hopeful you get them back. I'm really hopeful that nobody gets screwed out of their cards. Like I personally have like $2,500 in football cards on there. I've got over 1,000 football cards still in their vault that I hope to get back one day, because that's a lot of money I could generate selling them on eBay or send them to ComC. I've been talking forever to do a mass submission to ComC, and obviously ComC's got it figured out in terms of online sports card flipping marketplace. With the partnership with eBay and the actual scans and photos of cards and auctions and everything, I would just love to see ComC improve their sales data tool a little bit. I think that would be awesome. But I don't know. I personally, Brian, I wouldn't buy too many cards on Star Stock, especially ones that you want in any good time frame.
Agreed.
But
They're not, the thing that you have to worry about is, yeah, you might be able to get some steals, get some cards off of there for cheap. But the real question is will you ever receive them? And I think that's the part you got to really think about. If there's even a chance that answer is no, I say you got to wait and maybe look for deals somewhere else.
yeah, a website that I have not been on lately, and I was actually talking to Carter, and I was like, dude, this, as we talk about buying the rated rookies, like especially right now, 2021 guys, because of delays and everything else, is Beckett Marketplace. Beckett Marketplace. Brian, go check out Beckett Marketplace, man.
I agree. I actually have a active cart on there that I've been adding stuff to because a lot of these sellers they'll be like, oh, free shipping, but you got to spend $35 or whatever. So I'm not really too worried about a lot of these cards that I have in there selling, because many of them are a little bit older, or maybe not as like high liquidity cards, for example. But yeah, no, I think that there are deals to be had on there, and it's just a little bit harder to find certain things on there because it's like the interface isn't as friendly as like eBay or other similar sites, but they have a lot of cards on there. They do.
Yeah, they do. And the thing is, they're slower to update their values. So these guys, this is run by independent card shops. You could have a baseball card shop, for example. We find the Press Proof Premium, Kyle Trask. Now they got the Press Proof Premiums at 20, but right here, when I can go in here and maybe pick up 8 Kyle Trask base rated rookies for $250 a pop and get a free shipping threshold, no sales tax. So we're talking, I could get, let's see if I get like a percentage discount. Boom, I'm even getting a volume discount. So now I'm getting Kyle Trask rated rookies for $213 a pop. And so what I do is I'd go into this guy's store, the stadium, and get to his free shipping threshold. Now all of a sudden, I could get these within the next week and list them individually on eBay. I could see his base rated rookie at a peak if Brady retires and he's named a starter because Blaine Gabbert is let go, whatever. I could see myself selling these rated rookies for $10-15 a pop.
Definitely.
On
we
eBay.
all hope he's the long-term solution, but in the case that he's not, I mean, depending on what kind of boom you're going for, right? If you're buying a card for under $3 and selling it for 10, you figured out part of the quest. It's not the whole quest, but ideally, if you're just in this to flip for money, I mean, if you're tripling your money, you're doing something right.
Yeah, man, and it's fun to get these little wins like that, especially if you're working with a lower budget. It's just something that you can convert into an easy win. Little downside, it's hard for that card to go down from there. Just with that rated rookie logo, with the fact he's a quarterback, he's going to be on the Bucs for a few years, and he has really good film from college. I mean, I think it's not a bad. Look at here. We can comp. They've got the Trevor Lawrences at 10, the Zach Wilsons at 12.50. So this guy is, maybe he's in New York. Why does he have Zach Wilson's at 12.50 and Justin Fields at $5? Is beyond me. But what about Kirk Cousins? What about Kirk Cousins being traded? You got Kellen Mond sitting on the depth chart behind him. Now all of a sudden, I can easily hit this guy's threshold because I'll come in here. He clearly has no clue who Kellen Mond is, who drew comps to Patrick Mahomes in college. Now all of a sudden, I'm at 23.84. I'm getting Kellen Mond rated rookies for 85 cents, Kyle Trask for $2.13. I might as well continue just cleaning this guy out of all his quarterback rated rookies that are undervalued, and then go and flip them on eBay. in a plain white envelope, one at a time for, I mean, 4 or 5x pretty easily.
Yeah, and even if like you said, even if you're on a smaller budget and you're just flipping a couple cards from like 3 to 10 or 1 to 9 or whatever the case is, like I'll tell you what, by the end of the month, by the end of the year, you're gonna be like, whoa, I can go to Italy for a week, or whoa, I can go to me and my girl can go to Cancun for the weekend, all inclusive, like, and all it took was a little bit of auction hunting or card hunting on Beckett Marketplace to do that. It adds up, man. Hey, even if you do like a few cards a month, maybe it puts a full tank of gas in your car, right?
Yeah, yeah. If even that, and it's fun. It's
It is
fun
fun.
to
Yeah,
win.
that's absolutely fun.
Yeah,
Think
it's
about
fun to
it. Think
win.
about it this way. If you're buying exclusively to collect, like this doesn't apply to you. But if you're buying to flip because that's the part of the fun for you, then your hobby is making you money. I mean, most people's hobbies cost them money, right? Most hobbies are a money dive, right?
Hmm.
If you're a boat enthusiast, you're losing money every day. If you're a car enthusiast, you're losing money every day. But if you're a card flipping enthusiast and you're doing it correctly, you should hypothetically be making money every day, even if it's not a lot.
And this guy right here is got some serious backwards thoughts about some of these players. I mean, Kenneth Gainwell's for $1, and you get that volume discount. Um, Jalen Waddle's 250. Kyle Pitts at 250. I mean, after he just broke tight end rookie receiving records. I mean, come on, you know. And the Justin Fields at 8 for 5. So you could easily clean up. And this is just so I kind of look at this as like a probably a trend for this guy. And so I would start digging to what else he's got. Like, does he got, what other kind of cards from 2021 does he have? And you can just dig into his store and just clean them out, man. And chances are, I need to get more active on Beckett Marketplace. Honestly, I mean, here's an easy win for one of you guys out there. But definitely expect some more content from me on Beckett Marketplace here in the near future. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Andy, I feel like this is a good week to make this point too, and I think it's beyond obvious that the hobby is quarterback driven. We talk about that almost every week, but this week in particular, I don't think I need to remind everyone where in the draft Tom Brady was selected,
Ah, very true.
right? Because
Sixth
what
round.
what what happens when we're investing in these players? We're looking at the main couple first round picks. There's a guy that people are throwing the cards away of that are going to pad a top loader in a plain white envelope that are getting sent to someone and thrown away. And in the future, those cards will be scarce because no one held on to them. And that could be the guy. You never know. That could be the guy.
That's true, man.
So just keep that in mind. So I'm not advocating going out and spending, X amount of money on fifth, sixth round quarterbacks, but at least keep an open mind because one of those turned out to be the greatest quarterback of all time. Did he not?
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of us we are buying a lot more than we sell, but that's because we're buying like, oh, I want to go ahead and buy some more Gabriel Davises and stash those like I was doing all year last year. Oh, I want to go ahead and buy some more Jerry Jeudy's and stash him.
Jason,
Just
I definitely
buying
want to.
guys and stashing them, because that's at some point down the road, like it's just a matter of time.
I definitely want to at least touch on that from a personal perspective, Jason, and that's that. When I went on a buying binge at the beginning, preseason, and at the beginning of the season, I looked at my stash and I was like, every card I basically have sitting in front of me is Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, T. Higgins, right? And I was like, okay. I was like, well, either I have a incredible ability to predict Super Bowl winners, or or we'll just call it luck, but maybe we'll go with the first one. And what's happening now is, sure, I was buying a crap ton, and as we know, it's harder to sell a card than it is to buy a card. But I'll tell you what, it's a lot easier to sell a card when your team's in the Super Bowl. So, even though it's kind of like a slow drip, yeah, you're right. He is right. That was a great lesson for me in this process. But for example, all those Burrows, T. Higgins, Mixons that were selling at a meager speed during the year are flying off the shelves now. So there's a point in time where a guy you bought is going to have that week, Gabe Davis week, right? Or he's going to have the Derrick Henry 4-touchdown week, and it doesn't have to be Derrick Henry, but you just need a guy to have that week, and then the card will move. So they don't necessarily have to go to the Super Bowl.
Very true, man. There's your guy right here. Brian Edwards, 3 for $1.25.
Love me some Brian Edwards.
Hey, man, if Rodgers goes to Las Vegas, that would be huge, man. And the chances of Devontae Adams going with them, I don't know what that is realistically, and the salary cap, and what kind of deal Rodgers takes, if that's like a team friendly deal, or if it's Rodgers trying to get paid. Like, he obviously doesn't need the money, but
obviously he would be an upgrade over Carr. But I think even if Carr stays there, I think they found that they got something in him as the season went on, because I mean, I saw the guy make some incredible catches, and he just looked good. I mean, I'm not going to say, like, it's too early to say who I can compare him to, but like he had some, I don't know, like early breakout Braylon Edwards, or like early signs of like a Calvin Johnson-esque big bodied receiver type catches. So
he very much did, man. And you and I were talking about this before the show. He had almost as many receptions and yards as DeAndre Hopkins last year. Just had a third of the touchdowns. And those are the kind of guys like, okay, same amount of receptions, same amount of yardage, but only a third of the touchdowns. That means that Brian Edwards is due for some nice positive touchdown regression in 2022. And that's where you want to target. You want to target targets. You want to target targets. You want to target targets, which turn into receptions and yardage, because those will turn into touchdowns. Those will turn into big plays, big touchdown plays, and that's gonna definitely correlate over into demand spikes for the guys' rookie cards.
Yeah, and a lot of his opportunities came as the season went on as well too. I mean, regardless of who's throwing him the ball, I mean, he's shown a lot of positive signs. He's got now like 2 seasons under his belt, almost 2 seasons, because they had a shortened season, but we'll call it 2 seasons. And that third year for receivers and tight ends is usually a big jump at the position, because there is a larger learning curve. I mean, you're talking about let's just throw an hypothetical out there. You can get the contenders version, a non-optic version. I've seen them go as low as $8 to $10 in an auction this week. I've seen some of them go quite a bit higher too, but I've seen some of them go for $8 to $10. I mean, if this guy busts out, it won't take much to get that card to $100. He has a couple big games, forget it. Or if he becomes the number one on that team, or at least has Renfro-esque output.
Yeah, very true, man. You're looking at those rookie ticket autos. Going back to Jay's, I think that the market peaks pre-draft, like building up into the draft, like literally like that first night of the draft. that weekend, however the draft, they normally like start it like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, right? And it goes throughout the week. I think that weekend that the draft ends is where we see the peak.
And I think for anyone that's looking to roll some Brian Edwards cards, as someone who's been keeping an eye on them for a few weeks now, they are average auction prices are ending higher week to week now. So if that's a guy that you're interested in, you may not want to wait. If a big move happens, big trade happens, and they end up with let's say a Rodgers. I mean, we're going to talk about a hypothetical, but let's say they end up with a Rodgers. Every receiver on that team gets a massive upgrade in value.
Hey, check it out, man. Hot off the press, just got the notification, the tweet. The Jacksonville Jaguars have made a hire, man. They have hired their head coach. I'm going to give you a guess.
It's not Leftwich, is it?
Nope, it's not Leftwich.
I know it's not Urban Meyer.
No. It's actually, I think this is good for Trevor Lawrence. He's a former quarterback himself. And he's a pretty quarterback-friendly head coach.
Now, see, if you said that, I would have been like, okay, maybe it was Byron Leftwich. But no, I'm not. And it's not Harbaugh because he said he's staying in Michigan.
Yep. And there they go. The guys in the chat got it. Yep. They hired Doug Peterson, man, ex-Philadelphia Eagles head coach.
Okay.
It's official.
Interesting. So, I definitely appreciated the video you put out on the Jalen Hurts thing the other day. That was really good.
Oh, comping all the 2020 guys?
Yeah, and showing where he was on the progress meter,
yep, using
the 3 lines.
Yep. Yeah, man, that's some very interesting advanced analytics around Jalen Hurts. He's played quite well, like surprisingly well. And he's well above the pack in expected points added per play, which is advanced football analytic. It looks at, how much an actual player contributed to that play, like above expected, right? I mean, because there's a certain outcome that's going to happen on any given play, regardless of who the quarterback is. But, it's how much did they contribute above and beyond what was expected that really makes them stand out. And Jalen Hurts actually does quite well in that category. And he got really good rushing grades. And when you look back at all the other third-year quarterbacks that are at like post-second-year quarterbacks, I mean, he's standing out above the pack. And I think that he's shown that he's a guy that could build around in Philly, for sure.
You know what's interesting is I wasn't really collecting at the time, but you probably recognize the name Mike Vick. And I think a lot of people in the chat would too. And a lot of people criticized his ability to throw. But let's be honest, they won games because of him. And that's pretty much all that matters, right? So, it's going to go one of two directions with this guy, in my opinion. He's going to figure it out, and he'll be more like Donovan McNabb, appropriately. Or he doesn't, and he relies even more on his legs, more like Vic did, and they win games that way. But either way, I mean, the guy clearly has made an impact on that team, and I think didn't get enough credit for his contributions this year. And one more thing I want to add to that conversation: I'll never understand. I like Gardner Minshew. I'll never understand the Gardner Minshew from an investment standpoint angle. That's just me personally. The game that he had his biggest hype generated was against, I believe it was either the Jets or the Jaguars this year. And of the yardage that he threw for, over half of it was after the catch, right? So
Mm.
like with the advanced metrics you were talking about, they wouldn't credit him for most of that, right? Like the receivers did a lot of the work too.
Yeah, like Gardner Minshew was kind of average, just below average in terms of EPA. So yeah, it is interesting to see how much the quarterback contributes on any given play versus how much they rely on their skill position players and just the overall play call.
And I definitely think that not only was Hurts not getting a fair shake all season, I know there was a lot of scrutiny on him in the playoffs. I mean, the guy was playing with a bum ankle, right? And maybe just psychologically wasn't ready for his first playoff game, and physically he for sure wasn't. So, for those who don't know, he just had surgery on that ankle this week.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, you can see it. I've got several rookie ticket autos. I'm watching. I'm always watching because I just think out of everybody that I comp from 2020, I mean, he's selling for less than Jordan Love. He's selling for less than Tua Tagovailoa, and that just shouldn't be the case. I mean, he's selling for less than some skill position players, like I showed in the other video the other day. Jonathan Taylor, Justin Jefferson, which I mean they deserve to be at a premium value because they're so elite. Jonathan Taylor being number one running back and Justin Jefferson being a top 3 wide receiver, but still their situations don't look as good for 2022. I think we could all potentially agree that Justin Jefferson and Jonathan Taylor could regress a little bit in 2022 based on the quarterback and the team scenarios that they're going to be in. So, and Jalen Hurts, I think, is a guy that is going to progress. I think you're going to see positive progression out of Jalen Hurts in 2022. And I think he's a guy that's got a ton of room for financial growth in his rookie cards, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've been buying into him for a long time, and aside from the fact that I've got a lot of money invested in his rookie cards, I watch him play, and I think that he's got a lot. There's a lot there. It's kind of like Pandora's box right now. You've seen a little bit of chaos, right? But the lightning strikes, the beauty have come and they've been seen, and I think they'll just become more frequent as he gets the game figured out and gets the speed of the NFL figured out.
Yeah, man. The speed. He's going to continue to become a better passer. I do like him a lot better than Tua, man. He's more physical. I think he's better than Tua at scanning the field and making decisions in pressure pack situations. Honestly, I think that Jalen Hurts is going to have a better overall career than Tua. Um, it's not to say Tua could be great. I think he could be a very good passer, man. He can be incredibly accurate, incredibly efficient as a passer, and make good decisions as well. But I think that Jalen Hurts, with his ability to extend plays, he's more physical, he's faster, and he doesn't have like the same. He doesn't have the same injury history that Tua has. That's for sure. As with Tua suffered a similar hip injury that Bo Jackson did, just it didn't end his career because of modern sports medicine technology.
Yeah, I agree, and I know a lot of people. Every time I mention Tua to someone, the only thing they ever talk about is, he was never the same since that injury. I mean, the guy was just the second most accurate passer in the league this year. So, is he going to be instantly, fully healed? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But that whole Dolphins team is incredibly young. The receiving core is incredibly young. I mean, Devontae Parker, what did he play? 3 games this year, maybe. I think one of the oldest guys on the offense is like Gesicki, who was like a 2018 rookie, 2017 rookie. So I don't know. I think Tua could have a good career. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
look at a guy like Jimmy G. Look at a guy like Kirk Cousins. You don't have to, you know, chuck the ball 60 yards through the air and score that way every time. Like, if you can be efficient game manager who doesn't turn the ball over, you have a place in the league, right? Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
What
I
did they win? What did they win? Like 8 or 9 in a row to finish the season, something like that.
yeah, it was like they went 7-2.
Now I mean, that's impressive. I don't think anybody could have seen that coming.
No, it was impressive, especially I mean he brought Jalen Waddle to life, like made him relevant this past year in his rookie season. So
Yeah, no, and I mean Waddle's a guy that I'm pretty big on too, and if you keep those two guys together, I would imagine they're going to keep duplicating the success they've had up to this point.
I don't think you can go wrong investing either one, honestly, for right now, the short term. However, with all the crap going on in Miami around Brian Flores, and I don't know what the heck that guy's doing over there, but some crazy stuff going on. Brian Flores and the lawsuit and all the allegations that he's throwing out there. And he's not showed trust in or confidence in Tua since he's been drafted. So that's not good. It doesn't look like he's going to be their head coach anymore. It'd be really interesting to see what happens in 2022 with Tua, Miami, what they do in the draft. Um, but I just think there's a lot more certainty, and obviously you've got a bigger market in Philadelphia too. I just think you got more certainty. You've got the weapons. Just continue to build around Hurts and Philly. You got a pretty solid defense, and he's just the cheapest guy. Like he's cheaper. He's cheaper than all three of them. He's even cheaper than Jordan Love right now. I mean, so yeah, I'm just like gonna keep hammering him.
I think it's interesting that the number of Philly fans that I know, like they're not really sold on the guy, but uh, the fact that it's that big of a market and his prices are even remotely close to Tua's is pretty suspicious to me. I think that Hertz cards are undervalued still, in my opinion.
You think Steven Ross needs to sell the Dolphins?
I don't know a lot about that situation. I mean, they've done a good job rebuilding, but I will say that I agree that they need a running back.
I don't think too many people are touching. I still think people are holding Deshaun Watson cards. I think the I don't know. I think the only people that are touching Deshaun Watson now seems like Massachusetts out there. I can throw that in the live stream because we're 2 hours in.
I mean, you might not be wrong. You might not be wrong. I will say that, his cards are still fetching a pretty good value, but compared to what they would be going for if he was playing, you're talking about high risk, high reward at this point. But people are still buying Henry Ruggs cards, which, I mean,
Wild.
I brought this up like a few days after the whole Henry Ruggs thing happened, and people in the Discord were like, well, maybe they didn't get the news yet. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they haven't heard yet. Because they don't pay attention like we do. And I'm like, okay, here we are, 4 months later, 5 months later, however long it's been, and people are buying Henry Ruggs cards. I don't get that. I mean, so if people are buying Henry Ruggs cards, they're definitely buying Deshaun Watson cards.
Mm-hmm.
Deshaun Watson at least has a chance of playing in the league again. My personal take is this. He didn't play this whole year, right? Typically in a year, if you're involved in some kind of lawsuit, something would have happened, right? You either get charged or the league fines you or both. Typically not neither. So, we live in an unfortunate time where a lot of guys get accused for stuff because they have money. But then you have guys that have money that do stuff and think that they're, infallible because they have money. So it's hard to say which is which. But I do think that at some point he'll play football again. But when that is unfortunately uncertain right now. Yeah, I saw that Bush League. He was getting incentives to lose on purpose.
Yeah, I know. Can you believe that? That's wild. So they had a better draft pick. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The situation in Miami right now is crazy. So if that kind of like throws people off from investing in Tua and he gets that cheap, well then sure, I'm gonna pick some of his up too. I got an SGC 10 Tua Optic Hollow on my wall.
It makes me wonder, Andy, is what that would do to a quarterback's head. What that would do to Tua's game thought preparation and process if let's say he knew about this, right? We can't say that he did or didn't, but let's say that his coach was saying, hey, let's not do this and this, let's whatever. And if he knew about it and then the GM was saying, let's win, 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 or the coach was saying win, 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 but the GM was saying, hey man, take it easy with the production, we're trying to sandbag. That would do a lot to a QB's head. If both people are coming at him and they're like, yo, go out there and win, that's going to probably net better results than if it's conflicted, if you should be trying your best or not.
Very conflicted, man. Very conflicted. It's like, dude, I don't, he's probably thinking I don't even really want to play right now, and that could be why. There was a whole thing about Tua not studying the playbook, not knowing the plays, not taking it serious. That end of his rookie season, and that could be why, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that the truth's going to keep coming out on the whole head coach thing, and you got one side saying this and one side saying that, but as we all know, just about everything is recorded and emails are saved on a hard drive somewhere or on a server somewhere, so it'll come out what really happened.
Wow, man, this is from today. Josh McCown. You remember Josh McCown? I know you know Josh McCown. He's actually in the running to become the Texans head coach along with Brian Flores.
Interesting.
I guess those are the three finalists. Josh McCown, Jonathan Gannon, and Brian Flores are finalists for Houston's vacant head coaching job. Josh McCown appears to be the favorite.
That would make sense.
Dude, put the hammer down on Davis Mills, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, a QB head coach would do really well for his development, I think.
Let's go. I know. Get me some Davis Mills. I guarantee people.
It's funny because that was like a running joke in our fantasy league for a while. But yeah, if we're being completely honest, like the guy finished the season really well.
He really did, man.
I've wanted to get in on. I think I have like one Davis Mills card, but I've found other ones I've wanted to get in on. But I think that he's another guy that is a bit overpriced right now.
His rare stuff definitely is. There's rare stuff, and it's just because there's so little of it,
But it's people that are trying to intelligently get ahead of the curve, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
they don't want to be, they don't want the FOMO. They don't want to find out that, hey, I could have bought Davis Mills a year ago and now he's like, top 5 in the league in passing.
I wonder if I could get these press proof premiums. I wonder what kind of Davis Mills specials I could find on Beckett Marketplace. I bet you could like find some serious buy
Probably
low,
some real good ones.
some rated rookies. Let's check it out. Football. Yeah, give me that football. All right. Oh, my football.
You know how they have those nickname cards. I don't know if they still do them or not, but like in 2013 there was National Treasures had like these nickname cards, and if I end up getting in over at Fanatics, low chance, but if I did, I would want to recreate that set and have the General, because it would be our nickname for him as one of his cards.
The General. Yeah, man, check it out. Yeah, definitely. They're just super cheap. Get some free shipping. Put a little lot together. Birmingham, 3 stars.
What's like the dollar amount for the Davis Mills Donruss rated rookies right now?
The Davis Mills Donruss rated rookie
Yeah, what
on
is it, like 250, something like that, maybe?
on eBay.
Yeah.
I'm see this is what's interesting because I guarantee you'll find some fluctuation depending on the time of the week, the photos, the seller. All right, here's one that's got some bids. It's at $1.80 right now. That ends in an hour. I'll watch that one, see where it ends. But let me look at some sold items here because I guarantee we're going to see some interesting fluctuation. There's a 28 card lot. That's pretty cool. 28 for 85.
Wow. What is
So
that, about $3 each, something like that?
Yeah, $3 each. So yeah, that's pretty good, man. That's pretty good. So there's a purple optic. I like that with the base rated rookie for 10. Only had one bid. It's a portrait for $1.87 plus 350. So they kind of fluctuate. There's a little nice little lot of them. 20. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they're ending just a couple dollars. It's a couple dollars for the base.
I've seen yeah, man, like some of his higher end cards, like RPAs and autos and stuff like that, or I don't know, man. I definitely think that the market has gotten smarter and has changed a bit, but on the flip side, there's more people that could hypothetically feel the wrath if he doesn't pan out.
Mm-hmm. For sure, because he's going to be tied to the success of the Texans. I think if he's announced a starter, we see demand continue to build for him, and then if he goes out and wins week one, we see demand pick up even more. I think we see a pretty big spike then, especially if he gets protection. He starts cutting up defenses like he did the Patriots and stuff last season. I think you're going to see a big demand spike for him. And then at that point, there's going to be a lot of product out for him. But I think he'll be on a short leash. I think if the Texans start losing come October, November, if they're not looking like a playoff contention type team, even if he's playing well, not making many mistakes, if they're just not winning, I think that's when his card prices tank. And that's when I typically go in October and I buy a guy like him. I did that with Deshaun Watson, similar example. He was playing great, man, great fantasy quarterback, but his team was just stinking. and so his card prices had dipped quite a bit because his team failed to live up to expectations that he set for them in the beginning of the season.
Do you think that'll happen with a guy like him, though? Because, I mean, what really is the expectation for the Texans?
Well, and see, that's a great question. I think the expectation could be pretty good coming into the season, depending on how they come out of the draft and depending on the coaching changes. I mean, that's the thing, man. Every season's a new season, and there's going to be players on the team that are fantasy relevant that we're more bullish on, like Brandon Cooks, for example. Um, and I think that they can definitely be hyped up to the point where it's like, okay, clean slate. If they go out and win week one, we saw this happen with the Jags in 2020 with Gardner Minshew. I saw his base prism cards get up to $60-$70 for his base prism raw card because he played great week one. They beat the Colts week one. They looked great. DJ Chark looked great. His cards went up big time. And then they quickly fell off by October because they started losing. He stopped a hand injury, one thing or another. The defense on the Jags turned out to be terrible, regressed a bunch. And so I think that type of scenario could easily happen to the Texans. But I think everybody's got a certain degree of hype coming into the season. And then it's like, what happens when the rubber meets the road in week one?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The fact that his prices are where they are right now, despite the fact that the Texans haven't done anything, like I'm not even sure that, unless they go like 0-17, like I couldn't see his prices like tanking, assuming he plays well, right? Like if he has like 35 touchdowns and 15 interceptions and has like a Pro Bowl-esque season, but they go 0-16 or 0-17, like I still think his card values stay or go up because he's already defied by a lot what his preseason expectations would be going into the year.
By January, I do agree with you, but in October, he's not even going to be an MVP consideration, even if he is uh, playing at a Pro Bowl level,
Sure.
because the MVP is narrative driven and his team's got to be winning.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And so that is when you have such a large sea of activity going on a week. You have 16 games going on every single week. A lot of people focus in on the very best players, and they start out week one, man, and it's like if you win, okay, it's like almost like a survivor pool, and that's not where I'm putting my dollar. I'm still looking at the entire league, and everybody's on the table for me, because I'm always trying to buy low and just stash, and with the plans to make money on them some point down the road. So like I'll be waiting for that. I mean, he would be a prime example of a guy that could potentially continue to play good, and we could see a big dip in October. And then in January, when the season's done, now all of a sudden we can start speculating about the next season, about them improving the team in the draft again, and him continuing to be the starter. And now all of a sudden his card values go back up in January, February, March, peak in April.
Yeah, and I don't know a lot about what they're necessarily looking for in the draft, but as if his hype isn't where it is right now by the way they ended the season. Imagine if they were to take like a key offensive position player from the draft, what that would do for his hype going into the season too.
Yeah, no doubt, man, because they got they're building some pretty decent skill position. It's just one of those things. Like he would be a guy that I'd try and flip week one. Week one, I try and flip him around draft time, or try and flip him around week one of the season, and not try and take any long-term chances. Maybe then buy again in October, like flip week one, then buy back again in October, flip in flip in January to March timeframe, buy back again, like
No,
that kind of cycle, which, hey, you're making money on them every time. You could totally do that.
no, you're dead on with that. You're dead on with that. And that's kind of what we were talking to people about earlier about selling your Donruss rated rookies. And I don't think that that's limited to like a certain player. That's all of them, right? That's all of them because your opportunity to buy them at a reduced rate is coming in a few months, right? Or in a month
Hmm.
and a half or whatever it is. So, don't, it's, I did stuff with stocks for a while and they always say, don't fall in love with a stock, right? Because your objective is to sell it and make money, right? So if your objective is to make money from a card, don't fall in love with it. If you want to fall in love with a card, put it in your personal collection, lock it in a box somewhere, whatever, put it on display. But if your objective is to sell it, don't fall in love with it, flip it and just know that we're going through cycles throughout the season where you're going to have buy and sell opportunities, hypothetically on the same card, like you said.
Yeah, man. You think about it. And I would say probably by June, July. I mean, it's the internet will be flooded with Prism hobby box breaks, select hobby box breaks. Optics should be out by then. I mean, I would imagine. I know this glue that they use to put these cards together and stuff is an issue, but I can't imagine that the dates get pushed out that much further. You know what I'm saying? And at that point, like then that presents the Donruss to kind of be devalued a little bit. But there's another set also I was talking to Carter about. Clearly Donruss, which makes those acetate
Yeah,
form of these cards.
I like those.
So I mean, yeah. So if those are available, would you rather buy one of those than one of the regular plain
Oh,
Jane rated rookies?
you know what I like? And I'm assuming they're gonna do it with the clearly, because they did it in the Chronicles, and usually when they do it in the Chronicles, they do it in the base sets of the similar cards. And I've showed you a couple from my collection, and that's the rated rookie acetate versions, which are nice, but there's serial numbered versions of those cards, as low as like I think out of 5. And obviously, the lower you go in serial number, the design looks better. Some of them have autos on them and stuff like that. So I think it's cool, man. I like the acetate cards. They are like super thin, so it does kind of make it hard to put them in like certain kind of cases and such. But yeah, no, absolutely. If I had the choice between like base Donruss or those, I think you got to go with those. And I think that simply it just being the new set is going to be a buying point for people, even if it's not better or whatever the case is. People want what's new.
Yeah, people definitely want what's new. Speaking of new, I've got the artist proofs for Select
Ooh, I like that.
2021 Select. There's your new concourse guys. There's your new Premier, and guess what? They did away with the club level. No more club level this year. That was a 1-year wonder.
That's probably for the best.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they realized they overdid a little bit, little bit too much saturation.
So what do we got there? We got the base. We have premier level blue. Okay.
Yeah,
So that's taking the place of like the blue and black checkerboard, it looks like. And then the zebra field level version looks really good. I hope they do the cheetah version of the zebra print again.
Uh-huh.
Specifically because, as we know, Cincinnati is in the Super Bowl, and that whole Bengal logo looks identical to that print.
What do you think about these new inserts? So they added some new inserts this year.
All right. Green and black snakeskin.
That's what the new Phenomenon looks like. Phenomenon's always looked really cool to me, man. I've always liked the look of the Phenomenons.
Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah.
Yeah, that just happens to be a snakeskin variation. looks
Okay.
very, very mystical, man. It's pretty cool looking. The color wheel, I mean, it's all right. It's nothing. Phenomenon looks a lot cooler. I do kind of like the Firestorm. It reminds me of the Hot Rookies that selected like first year. They've kind of done like a Hot Rookies insert. And they're kind of bringing that back a little bit. It almost looks like they've added like a laser refractor to it. You can kind of see in this. I think it's going to have that. That's kind of cool.
You know what? I think that similar to the conversation we had about Prism when they showed the artist proofs, and I think that the cards are going to look way nicer, like to the naked eye, than they are on like a screen, right?
Yeah.
And some of them look really good on a screen, so that should tell you, a little something about what they're going to look like in person. The hot rookie looking one, I think, is probably the least appealing of the three on the screen. But if I had to guess, it might actually be the best looking one, like IRL, when you actually have the card in front of you.
All right, guys. One more question from Carl here. I love this question. I just comped Justin Herbert out the other day. We know Joe Burrow's completely taken over the 2020 market. How do you feel about Justin Herbert long term, Steve?
I would say really good. I mean, he's not going anywhere.
Oh yeah,
him and Burrow. Him and Burrow could be like the guys for years to come. Like the faces of the league, if you will, like the Brady and the Manning almost, right? And is it too soon to say that with 100% certainty? For sure, but that has that feel to it. Those guys are, for a second year player, they're both like really developed, right? And we may not have even seen their ceiling yet.
no doubt, man. No doubt. Yeah, there's a lot of studs in the AFC. Herbert and Burrow. Herbert, man, oh my God, the way he finished the season was so insane. I think he's definitely one of the top elite quarterbacks. I mean, he may even be in his third year the number one fantasy quarterback in 2022. That's in his range of outcomes,
Yeah, and he has like you said, Josh Palmer looked pretty good towards the end of the year, and Keenan Allen, Mr. Reliable, one of my favorite players. I'm hoping that he sticks around for a little while, because I mean that's the kind of guy that you can lean on. That's the kind of guy that most teams need to be successful. A guy that can get you 10, 11 receptions in a game. Like, that's Mr. Hands.
Herbert is expensive, so he's another guy ideally potentially look for a dip in I don't think you're going to see much of one in June, July. I just don't. I think the 2022 quarterback draft class is going to be a little underwhelming. There's going to be some hype around him, but I think they're going to be underwhelming, especially with everything that Burrow's coming off of. Herbert, the way he finishes his season, 2021 class was a little bit underwhelming. And so I think Herbert, though, yeah, maybe he hits a little bit of a slump coming out of the gate in 2022. Maybe you can buy in around October, November, and then he picks back up, just like we saw a lot of guys do this past season that you could have made some really nice money on, like Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, prime examples. So just hang in there, wait and watch. And Lamar Jackson, another good one. Appreciate you, Radog. Got the kicks on the profile pic, man. I like it.
Yeah, especially if they get Antonio Brown, right?
He's been
that's
vocal
right.
He wants to go play with Lamar.
I would be very hesitant as any organization to bring that guy on after all the craziness he's put the organizations through. But hey, the Ravens have brought some questionable people onto their rosters before over the years. So
they sure have, man. They sure have. All right, guys, it has been a blast. We've wow, Steve, we hit 2.5 hours. Felt like we just signed on 30 minutes ago.
right?
Man, this has been fun tonight. Make sure you guys drop a like for us. All right. Subscribe. Well, I'm sure all of you guys are subscribed and watching us 2.5 hours in. You got to be subscribed, right? If you're not,
thanks for sticking around, man. That really flew by.
Yeah, man. So appreciate you guys. We'll see you in the next video. I got some mail to open tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to opening some mail tomorrow, doing some player research, and hitting you guys a little bit of video this weekend. And who knows, maybe we'll be live again Sunday. I enjoyed doing that last time. We can find some time. So make sure you hit the little bell notification icon so you know when we got new content coming out, man. You can always find us in the Discord, in the patreon.com/footballcards, or on Twitter, Instagram. I know that's where Steve's at. Steve spends a tons of time in the Discord because we got a wonderful little community with all kinds of different channels. Anything that you're interested in fantasy football or football cards, we got a lot of fun in there. So
yeah, if you guys love talking football, talking sports cards, we're always very active in there. We got a nice community. Everyone's very friendly, and we got we post our own little mail days once in a while. Andy's mail day videos are my personal favorite, so sometimes we have our own little mail day posts, that we all share with each other, and it's fun, man, and it's just a little good community. So if you're interested, definitely check it out.
yes, sir. All right, guys. Peace. I just like to play that.
It's very catchy.
See you guys. Night.